So welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I want to walk you through how we are currently sat at around 250,000 a month. Now that is a split between my advertising agency as well as my education company. So it's like a combination of both. But right now I'm currently sat at around 250,000 a month. Now I do want to say, I know in the title I've said 0 to 3 million. Now 3 million is 250,000 a month, obviously for a period of 12 months. I have not done that yet, right? I'm not going to sit here and flex that we're at 3 million a year, although technically we are from a run rate perspective. We've not actually done it. Just want to say that, right? In the last few months, I've actually, we was averaging out around, 80 to 100,000 a month. And then this month we've had a real big month at 250. I think we'll be able to stay consistent now at around 150 to 200 per month moving forward for the next few months. And then we'll ramp up again, and then we'll, maintain that next, whatever it is that we ramp up to. Then we'll start to look at maintaining at that level. But, for the next few months, I do think we'll dip back to around 150 to 200. This month was just a very big month. So I do want to be very transparent on that front. But as I say, in the month of June, we have pulled in 200 and or be just over 250,000. I don't know when this is going to come out, but right now at the point of recording this, it is June 28th, so we actually have a few more days. I think we're around 230 so far in the month of June, so we'll definitely cross 250,000. And in this video, I want to walk you through exactly how I've been able to scale from a technical perspective. I'm not going to go through any kind of like mindset stuff saying like you need to believe to achieve or whatever crap is that some people say out there. Okay, I'm not going to be going through any of that. I'm actually going to be sharing my screen here in a minute and walking you through live, right, exactly how we're able to scale and some of the ideas behind the things that are enabling me to scale right now. And over the next year, we definitely will hit the 3 million mark, which is 250 a month. But as of right now, we've just done 1 month of 250. However, usually prior to this, we were sat around 100 a month. And now I think moving forward, we'll be at anywhere from 150 to 200 per month consistently. So with that being said, let's jump straight to the video. Now, as always, if you do enjoy this style of content, you do find value in this video, which is really my only goal for this video, is to bring value to you and hopefully we'll be able to pull some ideas for you to take away and implement into your business. So if you do find value in it, I implore you to please go ahead and smash the like button on the video below, and also subscribe to the channel as well. Massively helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And I post some pretty valuable stuff. That's not from myself, that's from everybody who subscribes to the channel. They say that I post some of the most valuable content on YouTube in the digital advertising space. So I kind of recommend you go ahead and subscribe as well as smash the like button. So with that being said, let's just jump straight into it. Now, I do want to say one thing before we move on. This is being completely bootstrapped, okay? I've gone from 0 to 3 million a year run rate, or more specifically 0 to 250,000 per month. I've done that completely bootstrapped, right? I had nothing to build off of. So that's the first thing that I want to mention, is that this is so achievable. And the only thing I will say from a mindset perspective, right? Don't click away because I'm going to get into the technical stuff here. I keep looking on my screen because I've got my ad manager pulled up and I want to show you some live results and show you how you can import these same ideas into your own business and your own agency and your own companies. But I do want to say, this is, as I say, this started from 0 and I've done this over the course of around 2 years at this point, I would say. Like me actually building and me actually, starting my business, right? This has been over the space of around 2 years, but I've been learning and I've been trying to understand this for 4 or 5 years at this point, right? I'm only 19 at the point of recording this, and I would say I would have started to really get indoctrinated into this world when I was around 15, 16, right? So that's the first thing that I want to say, and I think that the biggest thing that has really contributed to me being able to scale to 250,000 a month is consistency, right? Again, this is not like any woo-woo type stuff or anything like that. This is just me being genuinely serious. If I wasn't consistent each and every single day over a long period of time, 2 years is not a long period of time in the grand scheme of things, but it's a long period of time to wake up each and every day. Apart from Sundays, I'm very strict with my Sundays. I make sure that I don't come to my computer and I don't come into the office here and do work. Apart from Sundays, the rest of the week, each and every day for a period of 2 years so far, I have stayed consistent. And that's one of the biggest things that's enabled me to get to this point, right? So if you're just starting out yourself right now and you're struggling, just understand that you need to be going through that struggle and that it's a part of the process, okay? There's a famous quote, I don't know where it stemmed from, but basically it says something along the lines of, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20 or whatever, right? Maybe right now I don't think I'm that far ahead, right? In terms of like where I know I'm going to be going, 250,000 a month may seem like a lot, but to me it's kind of embarrassing, right? In terms of where I want to be and from where I am right now, there's a huge distance there, right? But again, you know, to you, maybe 250,000 a month is like, oh my God, that's so much money. But I don't want you to compare where you're at right now to where I'm at right now, because maybe in your journey, you know, I'm your chapter 10, right? But right now you're only in chapter 1, you're just getting started. So you can't compare that. It's incomparable, right? So I don't want you to do that, because the other thing as well is if you compare anything, right, all it does is it slows your growth, because you comparing yourself to me or to somebody else that you watch or whoever else it may be out there, right, it's not going to help you in any way. There's nothing positive that can come from that. For sure, you can go to that person right now, you're watching this video, to try and, you know, see how you can, you know, take something that I've implemented and implement it into your own agency and, you know, see the growth for yourself and see the improvements for yourself by virtue of what we're going to eventually get into in this video. I won't, you know, drag this initial section out for too long. So you can learn from them, but you shouldn't compare yourself to that person, as I say, whether it be me or somebody else, because nothing positive is going to come from that. And so, as I say, the reason I'm at chapter 10 or 11 or 5 or 15 or whatever it may be, right, is just because I've stayed consistent. So that's the first thing. I don't want you to think what we're going to go through in this video you'll be able to implement on tomorrow. You'll be able to start taking action on it tomorrow, but you're not going to see the results for tomorrow. Right, you may see the results in 6 months, or even maybe 1 month, or maybe 2 years. It doesn't matter. This stuff compounded over a period of time works. That's why I'm at where I'm at right now, because it's compounded over the space of, as I say, I think it's right around 2 years, right, since I started to properly take action. So this is compounded over a long period of time. It's not long relative to, like, you know, my entire journey. You know, once it's all said and done, 2 years is a very, very small section, but it's a long time, as I said before, to be focused on one thing each and every day, barring Sundays. It's a long time to have that consistent focus on one thing, right? 2 years, pretty long time. And that's what I've done, and that's why I'm at where I'm at right now. Okay, so that's the first thing, right? And that's kind of like an overarching idea. And now we need to take that idea to these following concepts that I'm about to go through. So the first thing that I've implemented that has really enabled the crazy scale that we've seen this month, and even the prior scale, right, from 0 to 100, then from 100 to 250,000 a month. The first thing that has really enabled us to see that growth is having a solid client acquisition system. And I don't want to just talk about this as some, like, you know, loose concept. I want to show you from a granular perspective exactly how this stuff looks in the back end, so you can see how it directly correlates to the current MRR, right? So this is currently my agency ad account. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and update this here, so you can see I've got the last 30 days pulled up. So I actually run an e-commerce advertising agency called Bax Consulting. We basically run ads for e-commerce brands. Right now we have like a minimum ad spend for e-com brand to work with us. It's around $10,000 per month in ad spend or above, right? We have clients spending upwards of, you know, 150,000 a month. And obviously they pay us a monthly retainer, which, you know, constitutes to our MRR, right? And that's part of the 250,000. As I say, that 250,000 a month that we've seen this month is by virtue of our advertising agency in combination with my education company, which is where I show people how they can, you know, start and scale their own agency from 0 per month up to 10,000 a month. And then we have another program called the Centurion Agency program, which takes them people from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month. I'm actually going to walk you through this program here in a minute, because this ties into my third and final point, which is about your offer. So first of all, though, the first thing, as I say, that's enabled us to see the growth that we've seen is having a solid client acquisition system in place. In order for you to see any kind of growth, you know, if, for example, if you have a phone call, you know, you sell prospects over the phone, for example, again, if you have your own agency, you can't be having 3 sales calls a month, right, and expect to be able to scale to a $50,000 to $100,000 a month with your agency. It just doesn't, it's physically impossible, right? If you only have like below 10 sales calls a month, it's just physically impossible. And also, if they aren't consistent, so if you're not able to consistently book in, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 sales calls a month for your either high ticket offer or your agency, again, you will not be able to scale. So this is why having a solid client acquisition system in place is absolutely vital to being able to scale your business, whether it be an advertising agency or just a general service-based business or some sort of high ticket offer, whatever it may be. You have to have consistent sales calls being booked in each and every day, and you have to be doing it at a respectable amount of volume. So you can see here, as I say, last 30 days pulled up in my agency ad account. Update it again just so you can see it's real and all that, right? You can see we booked in over 100 sales calls in the last 30 days at a $45 cost per booked call. So what this means, not only does this mean, obviously we've got 100 sales calls booked in. Now I'll be very transparent with you guys again, this isn't, 100 qualified book calls by any means, because obviously this is through running ads, and when you run ads, anyone and everyone can book in a call essentially who sees the ad. So maintaining high quality, it doesn't stay at 100%. However, you can increase the quality of your book calls by virtue of your ad and your funnel. So on the topic of ads and funnels, let me actually show you one of our best converting ads right now, which is this variation here called T8. So I'm going to pull it up as a preview, and you can see this is the ad that we're currently running. Oh, this is one of the ads that we're currently running that is doing tremendously well right now for us. And this does an amazing job in getting qualified booked calls, which again further ties in to my original point. You need to have a solid client acquisition system in place. In order to do that, especially for your agency, is you need to have a high volume or high number of qualified booked calls being scheduled into your calendar at a consistent daily rate, right? That is the first and one of the most important ideas, factors, or just overall quote unquote things that we've really implemented over the last few months that's enabled us to scale to kind of, as I say, 250,000 a month, right? So you can see here, this ad sends traffic to this funnel right here, which is baxtertalking.com/increase. And that funnel is this funnel right here, okay? So you can see here, I'm not gonna go too deep into the funnel, but this does a really good job at, again, further converting cold people, right? Because these ads that you can see here are running to completely cold audiences, right? These are people who have never heard of us. That's why we're able to book in such a high amount of sales calls, right? Because we're able to convert a complete cold prospect into a eager to buy booked call. Now we do that by virtue of the ads themselves, right? Which I just kind of showed you one of them, and that was our best performing one. And also this funnel right here. So you can see, again, we're going after e-commerce brands who are spending at least 10,000 a month with their e-com business, right? And they want to scale up to 100,000 spend a month and, just scale their overall business, right? So you can see here, the title literally says for e-com founders. So this instantly increases the quality of book calls that we get, because it ensures that every book call that we get is an e-com business, right? Because we say specifically this is for e-com founders. Now, this obviously, that's amazing, right? If we can get every single book call to be an e-commerce business, then that's perfect, because our ideal client is an e-commerce client. However, there's a further qualification that we specifically need to ensure our clients have, or our book calls have, in order for them to actually, be a potential client, right? And that is for them to be, usually we see our clients at a minimum of 100,000 a month with their business, and that usually converts into around a 10,000 a month ad spend that they're using, for the most part, rough numbers. So we then need to ensure that we have an offer in place that attracts that type of person. As you can see here, our current offer, and we've tied this into a headline for our VSL here, which is basically just a conversion mechanism, right? Which takes, as I say, a cold prospect from a cold prospect and converts them, hence conversion mechanism, into a book call. And as I say, so we've used our offer as a title for that, but that's called how we guarantee an increase in your current advertising results. So then this further qualifies those who are booking in a call, because it ensures that they're currently running ads, because that is our offer. Our offer doesn't attract somebody who isn't running ads, because we specifically say how we guarantee an increase in your advertising results, meaning they're already running ads, and all of our ideal clients are already running ads. So again, this further qualifies those who book in a call. Then we have, as I say, a 15-minute conversion mechanism, and this goes through and just really, black and white shows that we are one of the best in the market, and it really backs up our offer, and it makes our offer even stronger. You can see here in the video, I actually show a live client ad account, whereas, in the space of 7 days, right, was able to spend $7,700, you can see down the bottom here, $7,700, and bring back in 53, as you can see here, 53,000 for an average ROAS of 6.94, right? And then from there, they go ahead, they click Let's Chat, and they book in a call, okay? And then from here, they'll click Let's Chat once they've been converted by virtue of this piece of content, the ad, etc. And there's a whole sales page here. And obviously, if you're inside the Centurion Agency program, you guys get this entirely plug and play, and you know the psychology that goes on behind high converting sales pages, such as this one. This sales page actually converts at around a 4.5%, right? So after all of that, they'll then click Let's Chat, and then that'll take them to this page here where they can go ahead and book in a call. We have further mechanisms in place that enable us to, make sure that all the brands that we speak to and spend time with are actually qualified by virtue of this kind of, a small questionnaire, right? And this then makes up their application, and then from there we're able to cancel applications or move them to the next stage. They look as though they are a qualified prospect to work with us at the agency, right? But that's the first thing that we've really focused on in 2021 specifically, which is a solid client acquisition system. This is now just a simple tap, right? We've actually, I was going to mention it when we were in the ad account, but we've actually not updated or touched our ads, our audiences, or anything like that since the point in which we set this up in this specific ad account, right? We've been running ads for a long time, but these new ads that we've rolled out, since that point, we haven't touched ads. It's actually something I've been speaking to my CMO about. Now, CMO and the team side of things is actually my next point here, but this is something that I've been speaking to my CMO about recently, is that we need to update and refresh our current ads as well as the audiences. And the reason being, even though those numbers look crazy, at one point we was actually getting around 130 calls booked in per month. Right now we're only at 100 a month, which is still amazing, but you know, at one point we was getting 130 calls booked in a 30-day period, and they were around 30, I believe it was around $35, $36 per book call, whereas right now it's around $45 per book call. Still ridiculous, still unbelievably profitable, right? We can spend upwards of 150-ish dollars per book call in order, and you know, and still be profitable. So the fact that we're getting $40 per book call, $45 per book call, still ridiculous, but I know it's not as good as it can be. And so that's something that we're going to be refreshing. But my point is, since we launched these new ads, which was probably around 1.5 months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago at this point, we haven't touched, I've not been in the ad account. We haven't touched anything. We just set it up and we just set and forget for the last 6 weeks. We've not looked at it, right? We've been focusing on clients. That's a big thing, especially in the agency space. You don't want to get too hung up on making sure that your agency gets the best results possible from an advertising perspective, and then your client's results dip, right? That's not good. That's a recipe for disaster, right? So we've been focusing on client results. We've not even looked at our own agency ad, and we've had 100 plus calls come through in that period of time, right? 130, 140, 150 calls come through in that 4 to 6 week period. And so that is a system that you need to get built in order to scale to 100,000 a month, 250,000 a month like we have. That's what's enabled us to scale to those heights, because we have this system in place that runs without us having to do anything. We don't need to, you know, post YouTube videos or send emails or do any manual inputs in order to get results. And we've been getting consistent book calls at a very, very cheap price, at a very, very profitable price. So that's the first thing that has enabled us to scale to 250 this month. The next thing, as I said before about the CMO, that's a chief marketing officer at the advertising agency Bax Consulting and Apex Acquisitions, which is kind of like a sister company of Bax Consulting. And really, it's almost a system, right? It's like a team system, okay? And again, this is an idea that gets fleshed out a lot more in the Centurion Agency program, because that is a program that takes you to 100,000 a month with your agency, right? I have an initial program called the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program, okay? That takes you from zero, like no clients, no nothing, up to like around 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month. I mean, we've had students hit 30, 40, 50,000 a month just with Quantum Leap alone. But really, I built Quantum Leap to take people from 0 to 5, 10,000 a month with their agency. And then from there, now Centurion Agency takes them from 5, 10,000 a month and scales them to 100,000 a month, right? One of the ideas that I go through in that program is a team system and the way in which you should set up that system, because in order to scale to 100,000 a month, 250,000 a month like I've done this month, I would not be able to do it without my team. It'll be impossible for me to do the numbers that we're currently doing without my amazing team. So that's the second thing that has to be in place, and that's the second thing that I've made sure is in place. And as I say, that's why we've seen the numbers that we're seeing this month. So basically, the few ideas behind building a solid team is, number one, keep it as lean as you can, right? You don't want to overexert yourself on team, because that's how then profit margins start to plummet. And also productivity massively drops, right? And it's just much harder to manage a larger team, right? I was actually having this conversation with my team the other day. Basically, we was talking about the idea of hierarchy, and you know, my team was like, so who should we go? You know, Kai, do you want us to run ideas by you before we publish it? Like, how you know, what's kind of the structure there? And you know, because we actually just brought on a new team member, so he was asking, as I say, like, what's the structure there between the hierarchy? Should I run ideas past you, but whatever, past the CMO or anything like that? I was like, no. Right? We don't want any hierarchy evident in the company, right? Because as soon as this hierarchy, as I say, productivity drops and creativeness gets just stifled, right? It just stifles creativity, because now it's like, oh, I don't, you know, if there's a hierarchy, then the people on the lower rungs are always going to be trying to do everything that they can to make the people on the higher rung, you know, like, wow, you did, you know, great job, right? They're always going to be trying to impress them. And so, for example, then if, you know, the people on the lower rungs have an idea, but they're like a bit unsure about it, they're like, oh, I don't know, is it going to impress X person, right? Is it going to impress the owner or the CMO or whatever? It won't. Okay, I won't talk about it. But hey, that idea could have been $1 million idea, right? That idea could have crushed it for one of our clients, right? Or what, whatever it may be. And so as soon as there's hierarchy like that, it just does not work, right? So that was one of the ideas that I was going through the other day. And so that's just one overarching idea that's very, very important. And so going back to kind of the flow of, being able to ramp to 250,000 a month, like as I say, like we've done this month, the flow of that is a solid client acquisition system, right? And then from there, having a team in place, which is the next kind of section of it, right? Having a team in place that is then able to over deliver on the clients that you inevitably acquire by virtue of setting up a solid client acquisition system, right? So it's just like one kind of like long flow, and it all ties in together, right? So you sign clients, then you need to have a team that is able to over deliver for those clients, right? And you want to get to a point in your journey, and as I say, this is where I'm personally at now. I'm not in the machine doing the work, right? My focus now is ensuring that my team is, my team's output is as high as it can be, and that our clients, both on the education side and on the agency side, they are getting the absolute best results that they physically can. That's where my focus is now, and that's where you want to be. And it's at that point that you can start to scale operations, because now you can really focus on moving the needle forward as opposed to being a cog in the machine. I hope that makes sense, because when you're a cog in the machine, if that's where 100% of your focus is going, then you're not focused on growing the machine. You're just focused on making sure that the machine is still running tomorrow, pretty much, right? So you're not really getting anywhere, right? Whereas when you're able to focus on the growth of things, on the growth side of things, that's when you actually experience the growth, right? But if you're just spinning your wheels in the machine each and every day, just keeping up with client work, for example, or managing your client load, then you're just going to be staying in one place. You're not actually going to move anywhere, right? So that's why a solid team is the next very, very important thing. As I say, without my team, I would not be anything. I would not be where we're at right now without the team. And everybody plays their own role, and everybody has a very important role as well. And the other thing that comes in with that as well is building culture, right? When you're able to remove yourself from the day-to-day operations, you're then able to also focus on, as I say, you want to be focusing on your team's output. That's pretty much where I would say 90% of my focus is now. It's on the team's output, right? I'm making sure that I'm doing everything in my power to ensure that my team stays at the ridiculous output that we're currently at. And that's also how we're able to stay extremely lean, because each person's output is 150%, for example, whereas competitors, maybe each one of their team members' output is only 50%. So that means for every one employee that I have, my competitors have to have 3 employees. And so wherever the chink in their armor is something wrong, but whatever it is, that's then making them extremely bloated, because now they need to have 3 employees to keep up with just one of mine. And so that's, as I say, that's the point that you can get to when your focus becomes your team. And so as I say, tying back in with the idea of client acquisition, the idea of team, well, you need to have a solid client acquisition system in place. And once you inevitably sign clients, your team then comes in and over delivers for those clients. And then that takes me into my last and final point here, which is having a scalable offer. So what is a scalable offer? Well, first of all, a scalable offer ties into the market, right? Your ideal market. If you have an offer that is like the best offer in the world for one person, right? There's only one person that can really benefit from that offer. Well, you don't have a scalable offer, right? Because yes, it's amazing for this one person, but once you've sold them on it, maybe maybe it's that amazing that it's a 50K offer and it's just perfect for this one person. If only one person can benefit from it, you're only gonna make 50K one time. That's not scalable. You're not gonna be able to build any long sustainable business out of that, right? And scale it to any certain heights, right? So first of all, it's about building an offer that can help a large majority of people, right? There's a big market who can really, really benefit from a specific offer. That's the first point of a scalable offer. But also a scalable offer, in my opinion, and this is something that not many people talk about, a scalable offer, in my opinion as well, ties into the service delivery of the offer. If you have an offer that, again, is amazing, it's like the best offer in the world, but for whatever reason, it takes a tremendously long time to actually execute on the offer, meaning you can't have that many clients come on board because the time it takes to actually execute on the offer is so long, right? The lead time on the, on the prospect or the client seeing the results, right? Like the lead time is super long, then that is also not a scalable offer because you can't really bring on that many clients. And if you do want to bring on clients, then you'll have to build a bigger team. And as you build a bigger team, the profit margins start to decrease, you become a lot fatter, like we were speaking about in the previous point, and you're not as lean, meaning you're not as agile. So a scalable offer also ties into, as I say, the delivery of the offer. How does that look? And obviously, what do the results look like, right? And that ties back into the team aspect of it, right? Is your team and yourself, are you guys able to actually deliver on whatever the offer claims? Right? Because if you're not, then that's going to massively harm your client acquisition system. The easiest offer to promote and the easiest way to get a strong client acquisition system in place is when your customers refer other people. That is the point that you want to be at, right? When really you could turn all of your advertising off, all of your paid traffic off, and you would still, maybe you wouldn't grow as quick, but you can still sign clients consistently. You can still get consistent book calls. Maybe it won't be consistent, but you'll still get a high volume of calls come through and you'll be able to still sign clients. And that's simply by virtue of your current client roster or your current customers, just word of mouth marketing, right? They just tell their friends about you because your offer is that good and you actually deliver on your offer. So then when you strap paid ads to it, right? That's when you'll just scale to the moon. It's as simple as that. And so a really good example here of a scalable offer is something like, for example, Centurion Agency. Now, as I said to you before, this is my program which scales agency owners from, around 5 to 10,000 a month, and we scale them up to 100,000 per month. And as I also mentioned before, this month was 250 grand for us, and that is made up of the agency side of things, which is what this ad account here is doing, right? We're running ads for the Bax Consulting, which is getting agency clients to book in calls with us, and they want to work with us. Then from there, they go into a monthly retainer, okay? And then we also have a performance fee tacked onto the retainer as well. But I also have the education side, and that is what the 250 this month has been made up of, in combination of the advertising agency as well as the education side. Now, on a scalable offer, I want to show you Centurion Agency itself, right? So this is an extremely scalable offer. So this is Centurion Agency, and all of these things here, as you can see, are actually modules out of the program, right? And then we also have call them the Centurion Agency community call replays. And so these are basically the calls that we have. So Centurion Agency is essentially a done with you offer, right? So I actually work, closely with each individual person who enrolls into the program. And one of the things that we do is, and that is actually made up of 4 calls that we have per week inside of Centurion. So we actually have 4 calls per week, right? So the accountability is extremely high. And so as I say, that's why I'm so confident in this program, because the accountability is so high, it's very difficult for each individual customer who joins Centurion to not actually, achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, right? Usually it's 100,000 a month. It's very difficult for people to not hit those numbers with their agency by virtue of Centurion Agency, right? Because we have 4 calls per week with myself personally, where, we just go through and you can share whatever it is that the issues are, whatever it may be. And so as I say, it's really, really hard to not scale. And so obviously that ties into, the idea of actually getting customer results, right? So the offer of Centurion is a very, very strong offer, and also we actually deliver on the offer, right? So I can again stop all advertising for Centurion and we'll still sign clients and we'll still enroll new customers, just because everybody who joins Centurion is so blown away by it that they actually tell people. And we've signed a multitude of referrals for the program who didn't even come through any of our advertising. They came through purely word of mouth from the current customers, right? So that's just one thing that's kind of separate to this last point here. However, the point in me actually showing you this here is not just to, flex, quote unquote, how good Centurion is, but it's to show you what a scalable offer looks like and how it actually plays out in real life. So you can see here, Centurion is an 8-week program, right? Week 7 is missing right now, but basically that's a story for another day. Basically, as you can see here, we go from week 6 to week 8. So week 7 is currently missing. That's why currently Centurion still isn't full price, because the program isn't fully rolled out yet. But overall, it's an 8-week program. And this is the roadmap to 100,000 per month, right? With your agency, right? This is a roadmap. You follow this, you'll get to 100,000 a month. Pretty much as simple as that, right? And so I've basically distilled what we're currently doing at a 250,000 a month level down into an 8-week roadmap. And you can see here, all of these are modules. So you can see here, publishing the VSL, 48 minutes, right? Sales letter introduction, 62 minutes, right? The foundational card playbook, 80 minutes, right? Setting up tracking and automations, 58 minutes. These are all modules. These are all videos. right? So for example, if we actually, pull up a module here, right? Again, you can see here, this other module here, 100 plus sales calls per month through ads. This is actually a live walkthrough. So what I've just showed you here is kind of, hiding everything. You just see the numbers, but obviously inside of Centurion, I give away all the audiences we're targeting, exactly what it is that we're doing, so that obviously, again, all customers can just copy paste exactly what we're doing into their own agency ad account and see the same results that we're getting, right? And so the reason this is an extremely scalable offer is because this is all pre-built. Right, this is all pre-built around exactly what you need to do in order to scale to 100,000 a month. So now, if a million people enrolled into Centurion, well, it's no extra work on my end, and that is what makes a scalable offer, right? This can really get scaled up to ridiculous heights, and really there's no extra work on my end. Now, because I want to ensure that each individual person who enrolls into Centurion actually gets the best results that they can, and I ensure that I work one-to-one with them, that aspect isn't as scalable, but that is why I have a cap on the amount of people that we enroll into Centurion, right? I'm very, very selective with who we enroll because of that exact reason. I want to ensure that our results are better than any other programs out there, right? Any other mentorship or anything like that out there, and we're currently doing that, right? But that's because I've made sure that it's more one-to-one, it's more intensive than really it needs to be, because this roadmap here itself gets results. But at any point when I then want to scale this even further, well, I can just put some very, very simple things in place to again make it a lot more scalable, right? Whereas right now I'm very much involved in the process because I want to ensure that we get the best results and that our students get better results than anywhere else that they could go. And so again, that's why we're very selective with who we actually let into Centurion Agency. You may have actually had a call with myself or my head of student success, Brandon, and you might have, even if you had the capital to invest, you might have actually not been let in, and that is the exact reason, because we want to ensure everybody who joins actually is wanting to scale to 100,000 a month, and it's not something that they're just, they're not very serious about, right? So overall, those are the three things that we've put in place. And the same, by the way, the same idea, I was obviously using the education side in that instance as an example for a scalable offer, but we have the same thing on the agency side as well. Now, obviously, any service-based business is never as scalable as a product-based business, right? But we've still put things in place, and the way in which, for example, we go through in Centurion, we go through in Quantum Leap, the way in which we build the agency, we make it as scalable as it physically can be, right? And so again, that enables us to scale to 100,000 a month, whereas some other agency owners, the way in which they operate and the way in which they're currently structured, they can't really get past 20, 30K a month, right? Without profit margins going below 50%, right? We never see profit margins below 70%, that's on a bad month, right? Usually it's around 75 to 80%. So overall, those are three very, very important factors that we've really focused on, which has enabled us to scale to around 250,000 per month as of June 2021, right? So I hope this was useful. I hope you found value in it, and I hope it was actionable for you. I tried to make it as actionable as I possibly could. So I hope that came through, and I hope you was able to pull some actionable insights from it. And of course, as I say, as always, you found value in it. Now, if you did, go ahead, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you're wanting to potentially join Centurion Agency, which is my high level program, which takes you from anywhere from 3, 5, 10,000 a month up to 30,000 a month. We have to have people join. So I think we've had people join at around 55, 60,000 a month with their agency, and you want to scale to 100,000 a month, 150, like we're doing now, 250,000 a month, then go ahead, click the first link in the description. It's going to take you to a book call page with, again, my head of student success, Brandon, and he'll walk you through the program. He'll show you essentially step by step exactly how you can scale to 100,000 a month plus with your agency using the Centurion Agency program. And if you're a good fit, we'll get you enrolled and we'll get you ramped up. So with that being said, as I say, if you're interested in that, book in a call below. And apart from that, as always, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.